for indulgence. At least there's a movement that is happening. There was a consultation with Mr. Mnisi when we were on break. I think there's something that is happening, madam. So we might as well then continue with the business of the day.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, madam.
You still remember, sir, you're still under oath? Yes.
As it is the court, my lord. Thank you, Mr. Ntini. Sure. Mr. Ntini, is it a procedure that a person from whom an opinion has been requested by an officer analyzing ballistic, does a ballistic analysis to give or to write an affidavit?
Kwenza lensenza ngayo yini ukuthi uma kuwukuthi umuntu wenze umsebenzi wokuhlola ballistic kufanele abhale affidavit?
A lot. I've never done this before. However, this time it was requested for me to write that affidavit, and I've done that.
Angaze ngikwenze lokho. What did you say after? Said you've never done that?
I've never done that before. However, I was requested to write that particular affidavit.
Hayi angaze ngikwenze lokho ngaphambilini kodwa ngacela ukuthi ngibhale leyo affidavit.
Thank you. Now, what is the procedure that you know with respect to a person who has been requested to give an opinion in ballistic related examinations?
Manje yini inqubo yaziyo mayelana nomuntu ocela ukuthi alethe umbono wakhe mayelana nokuhlola kwe-ballistic?
My lord, I cannot say there is a specific procedure. What I know is that when you are giving an opinion, you are just giving an opinion. You are not writing anything anywhere. You are just giving the person who's doing the case an opinion, and then it ends there, my lord.
Ayikho inqubo engiyaziyo engikwaziyo nje ukuthi nje ulatha umbono kulo muntu ocelile ukuthi ke akhombise ocelile ukuthi ulethe umbono wakhe.
Is it correct that the person who procedurally would have to write an affidavit in terms of section 212 and those subsections is the chief examiner, even a person who overrides the work that has been done by the chief examiner does not have to write an affidavit, not so?
Kuyiqiniso yini ukuthi lo muntu ofanele abhale affidavit ngaphansi ka section 212 chief examiner nalo ongathi ke kezula ke lokho kubekwe u-chief examiner kwasayena akaphoqelele ukuthi abhale affidavit.
My lord, the person who's doing that case is the one who is will compile the affidavit for that particular case, my lord.
Lo wenza lelo cala yena uzokwenza i-affidavit yalelo cala.
Thank you. Now, you correctly saying you haven't done this before, but have you ever been requested to give an opinion by a chief examiner? When I say a chief examiner, I mean the person that is specifically working on that case.
Wabacelwa yini lo owenza icala ukuthi ulethe umbono wakho?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kunjalo.
And in those cases where you're requested to give an opinion, did you ever file or also prepare an affidavit?
Manje la ucelwa khona ukuthi ulethe wakho umbono wakho ucelwa yini ukuthi nakhona ubhale affidavit?
No, my lord.
Thank you. Now, can you explain the circumstances under which you then had to give an affidavit in this case?
Manje uchazeke isimo senza ukuthi ke ugcineke ubhale affidavit kuleli cala.
My Lord, I was informed that during the testimony of Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, there was where our names were mentioned that we gave an affidavit. My apologies, my Lord, where we gave an opinion. So now we're requested to confirm that through an affidavit, my Lord.
Nje khona istatement la sikelo khona ukuthi akuloku kufanele sifunge nge-affidavit.
From who did that request come?
Manje leso sicelo savela kubani?
It came from Advocate Baloyi, my Lord.
Savela ku-advocate Baloyi.
Did you ever mention to Advocate Baloyi that said, look, we only gave an opinion, we in terms of our protocol, we're not obliged to give affidavit. The person that gives an affidavit is the person who had worked who's working with the case himself. Did you ever bring that to the attention of Mr. Baloyi, Advocate Baloyi, Masoda?
Manje amtshela yini u-advocate Baloyi uma uthi indlela esisebenza ngayo ukuthi uma silethe umbono sibhale i-protocol, umuntu ofanele kabhale leyo affidavit umuntu okuyena ke owenza lowo msebenzi. Thina esilethe umbono nje kuphela sibhale affidavit.
My Lord, we consulted with the advocate and to seek advice on how can we put this affidavit, and then we were advised to make a 2-2 statement, my Lord.
Hayi sakhuluma naye u-advocate ukuthi singabhala kanjani ekugcinekini ke wayesesikholela ekutheni sibhale i-2-2 statement.
No, but my question is very simple. Did you bring it to his attention that per protocol you're not required to do that?
Kuzo uthi amtshela yini ukuthi akuyona inqubo yethu ukwenza njalo.
My Lord, my answer is I've consulted the office of Advocate Baloyi because we've never done this before with regard to an opinion on how to go about this. And then we were advised to draft the 2-2 statement, my Lord.
Njengoba sengishilo ukuthi sacela ukuthi u-advocate Baloyi ne-ofisi lakhe basisize ngoba sasingakaze sibhale statement esinje. Wasesitshela-ke wasesikholela ekutheni sibhale i-2-2 statement.
Captain Ntini, do you understand my question?
Ngiyawuzwisisa yini umbuzo wami?
I understand your question, my Lord.
Ngiyawuzwisisa impela.
Thank you. In the course of you being requested to write an affidavit, knowing that that's not a protocol in terms of the forensic science laboratory, for a person in your position then to have done so, did you bring that aspect to the attention of Advocate Baloyi during your concentration? I mean, when you consulted?
Namazisa yini manixoxisana no-advocate Baloyi ukuthi cha kona indlela ekuyona inqubo yethu ukuthi sibhale ama-affidavit.
My Lord, we object to that question. There's no protocol who must actually write a statement or not. And any witness can write a statement as long as they are being asked to write a statement.
Yes, Mr. Mnisi.
I did not get the basis of the objection, madam.
He says there is no protocol that the person who writes an opinion must do so in the form of an affidavit or otherwise. As long as they are requested to write that opinion, we may choose, I suppose. Is that not so, sir?
That is so, my Lord.
But that comes from the witnesses themselves, my lord.
Yeah, fine, but the lawman says there's no protocol.
Then it means the witnesses were lying then if they said they are not expected to write an affidavit.
Fine, you can make that submission.
So say despite the protocol that you know that as an opinion giver, you should give an affidavit, you went on to give that affidavit nonetheless, not so?
noma wazi ukuthi wena kuletha umbono kuphela wena ukuqelela ukwenza i-affidavit kodwa waqhubeka wayibhala leyo affidavit akunjalo?
I wrote the affidavit, my lord.
Yebo ngayibhala i-affidavit.
Thank you. You know what does that tell me? It tells me that you went along to try and give some degree of how can I put it? You went along with the state to try and give some degree of there's a term that I'm missing. Of a validation. Yes. You went along to give a validation to the narrative that the state is trying to give or to bring to this court with regard to this firearm by defining your own protocols.
Ngibona sengathi wena wasiza umshushisi ukuthi kulethwe isiqiniseko mayelana nalesi sibhamu lesi umshushisi afuna ukusiletha la enkantolo.
My lord, I cannot say I went with the narrative of the state. In this 2 and 2, I just wrote what I know and what transpired, my lord.
Ngisho ukuthi bengizisana ke naloko bokufuna istate engakusho nje ukuthi nje mina bengiletha umbono.
That is just by the first aspect that I'm bringing to your attention, and I'm going to request you to keep it in your mind that there's a first validation that you're going along to give. In fact, your testimony is that you are trying to give a validation to the narrative that the state is bringing here in respect of the involvement of this firearm, of this alleged firearm in this case. But that's just the first point. Thank you. Let us proceed.
Ngicela ukuthi lokho ukukhombisa ukuthi ukuqala ulethe isiqiniseko mayelana nalesi sibhamu okukhulunywa ngaso.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Lieutenant Colonel Mangena has agreed when he gave testimony that the process in which you are involved in, ballistic analysis, it's science, and it's a science of accuracy and precision, which is based on the consistent transfer of marks from the tool to the exhibit. Do you align yourself with that?
Mangena wavuma la enkantolo ukuthi ke i-ballistic i-science ekhuluma ngokudluliseka kwezimpawu ezidluliselwa ey'nhlamvini. Uhambisana nalo?
I'm listening, so you can proceed. I do agree with that.
Athi yebo ngiyavumelana nalo.
Thank you. Would you also agree that in an event, it's just a hypothetical situation, in an event where there's been no transfer of marks from the tool to the exhibit, then comparison will not be possible?
Can you please say again?
I'm saying, would you also agree that in an event where there has been no transfer of marks ballistically so, of marks from the tool into the exhibit, then examination will not be possible.
Noma ukuthi ke kukho impawu zidlulisekela ku lo mbukiso lo lethu enkantolo kusho ukuthi ayikho indlela emini ngahlola ngayo.
My lord, even if this is too wide, but what I can say is that when you are comparing the two specimens, then you find no marks, then you are going to give a certain finding if you don't find any mark. But you will be looking at those specimens under the comparison microscope.
Noma ungathatha ke uthole exhibit elethelwayo ukuthi akunazo impawu ezikhona lapho kodwa ekugcineni uyogcina kukhona okubikayo mayelana nokuthi impawu azitholakalanga.
Thank you. That will basically be a negative finding or a neutral finding, not so.
Lapho uzokukhombisa ukuthi ke umbiko uchaza ukuthi akukho lutho olutholakala kunjani.
If you don't find the marks, my lord, you will go for inconclusive.
Yes.
Manje uma ungayitholi lezi mpawu leyo uzobe luthi cha lokho akulethi isiqiniseko.
And in circumstances where the marks do not match at all, what finding will you get?
Manje uma ungatholi lutho kwanhlobo.
My lord, if the marks don't match, you will go for negative. It will be negative.
Manje uma ukuthi ke lezi mpawu lezi azifani uzovele uthi no akuhambelani.
Thank you. Now, Colonel Mangena, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena comes to you on the 22nd and says, can you please give me an opinion on what I've already worked on, not so?
Mhla 22 ke uKhane Mangela wezakubona ukuthi ucela ukuthi umnike umbono wakho akunjalo.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo unjalo.
Now, in terms of your knowledge, at what point would a chief examiner, let us call a Lieutenant Colonel Mangera a chief examiner, at what point would a chief examiner go to a colleague of his, go and request for an opinion?
Because lokho ke ungasiphi isikhathi la ufanele lo esithi chief examiner noma umhloli omkhulu lana okuwumangena afanele ukuthi ayofuna imbono yabanye.
My lord, opinion in my section, my lord, is something very common. So it is part of quality control. So from my side, if somebody else come to me and ask for an opinion, it's something that we normally do.
Ucelo lombono into ejwayelekile yenziwayo la engisebenza khona lokhu kusetshenziselwa ke ukuthi kuhlolwe ukuthi equality yinhle yini. Manje ukuthi umuntu azocela ukuthi umnike umbono into ejwayelekile.
Have you ever requested for an opinion, say, from a colleague of yours?
Akwayicela yini wena ukuthi omunye akunike umbono?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo unjalo.
At what point?
Ngasiphi isikhathi?
I look at the specimens on the microscopic comparison and then just ask for anyone who will be close by or to just go and request somebody to just make sure that he can see what I'm seeing. We can come to the same conclusion. Hence I'm saying it's part of quality control, my lord.
Ukuthi uma ngibheke lezi zinto ngaphansi kwemicroscope bese ngibona okuthize ngiyicela mhlawumbe oseduze noma nje omunye ngimtshela ukuthi ake sazohlola ukuthi asho naye ukuthi uyabona into engikubonayo.
Do I understand you well to say that you'd first go through the comparison yourself, and then you come to a specific finding or to a specific conclusion. Then with that conclusion in mind, you go to your colleague, go and request for an opinion, not so.
Zisakahle ukuthi ukuqala uyahlola bese ke ufikela kwesinye isinqumo mase ufinyelele kuleso sinqumo ebese ke uyasudlula ke uye ku colleague yakho umtshela ukuthi uyombuza ukuthi access.
My lord, when I go and ask for an opinion, surely my job will be done. I'll be the first person to look at, as the chief examiner. I'll do my job and check those specimens on the comparison microscope, and then see what I'm seeing, and then I'll give it to somebody else, my lord.
Okay, mase ngiyotshela omunye uthi angikumbona ngizobe sekuqedile wami umsebenzi ngithatha i-specimen lesingifine ngaphansi kwe-comparison microscope ngisibheke kuyima ngikwazi ukuya komunye ngiyocela eyakhe imbono.
Thank you. Now that is the point at which you'll go out and request for an opinion, not so. When you're done with your job.
Yes, I will first check them.
Thank you. Now, in the course of requesting for an opinion from your colleague, would you discuss certain challenges which you might have had when you went through your job, or you just go give him the exhibits and all of those that you have been working on, and keep quiet and go back to your office?
Uyomchazeleni ukuthi iziphi inselelo wahlangana nazo emsebenzini wakho noma uvele umnike umsebenzi ukuthi yena usiyozibonela ukuthi wena uyahambela yela kwelakhe office.
My lord, I will give the examiner the exhibits to check for me to in order to verify that if whatever that I have seen, it's something that he can see.
Ngizonike omunye umhlolo ukuthi naye abheke ukuthi lokho engikubonile naye uyakwazi ukubona.
No, but my question is, when you're taking all the things that you have been working on yourself to your colleague for a third opinion, would you tell him that, look, this is what I got and stuff like that?
Umbuzo wami ukuthi uma uthatha umsebenzi usebenzile uyise colleague yakho ukuthi awuthola wakho umbona uyamchazela ukuthi naku phemile sengitholile.
My lord, I don't tell the results. I just give the person the exhibits to check for me. Then when he gives me feedback, then I'll be able to compare if he has seen something that I have seen.
Angimtsheli ngivele ngimnike ukuthi ayitholele and then-ke uma eseqedile-ke nami-ke sobe sengiyabheka ukuthi yini khona into ayibonile nami leyibonile.
So basically, I mean, even if after he has done, your colleague, the one that is giving the opinion now, he is done with his opinion, testing, examination and everything. When he brings back your package that he was working on, there's no point at which you two as experts would sit down and say, you know what, in the course of my examination of this, these are the things that I've identified, these are the things that I've identified. You just don't do that.
Noma mesebuya-ke lo mcela ukuthi akunike imbono mesebuya ezokutshela esebuyisa la kubuyisela kona ama-exhibit lawo usho ukuthi anihlali phansi nibonisane ukuthi nakhu mina ekubonile nakhu engingakubonanga niyakwazi yini ukuxoxisana?
Obviously, my lord, he will give me the feedback. In the process of feedback, he will tell me what he saw the marks, corresponding marks, whether it's positive or whether it's, he saw the marks that are different, that it will be negative. Whatever that he will see, he will inform me, my lord.
Thank you.
Whatever the finding.
Ngilethela phela umphumela walo umsebenzi wakhe. Uyangitshela phela ukuthi yini ayibonile, uzongitshela ukuthi yini okufana nayo impawu ezifana nayo zibonile mhlambe khona nomehluko awubonile, uzongichazela ukuthi kubona lokho akwenzekile.
Thank you. Now, in this instance, where where Colonel Mangena requested you to give an opinion on the work that he already had done, did that discussion take place?
Manje kulokhu ke la ucela khona uKhenel Mangena ukuthi ulethe umbone leyo ngxoxo yenzeka.
I gave him the feedback, my lord.
Ngambuyisela umphumela.
What feedback was it?
The feedback was that they were fired from the same firearm, my lord.
Ngamthi mase ngixoxisana na ngamtshela ukuthi cha lezi inhlamvu zakhe ngithula isibhamu esisodwa.
What else?
Okunyeke
Is then that on the day, then he informed me that it is Senzo Meyiwa case. That is all that I can remember, my lord.
okunyeke wangitshela ukuthi yiqala kaSenzo Meyiwa bona ngikhumbula.
So just to recap from your answer, on your answer, you gave him back the item that he brought to you, which you also had worked on to formulate your opinion, and you told him that from your analysis, the bullet exhibits and the scene, the test bullets and the scene bullets seems to have been fired from the firearm that we brought to you. Number one. Number two, sorry.
Manje kuloko ongichazela kona ukuthi wayilethela ke lezinto lezi ayikunikeza zona ukuthi uzihlola ke waseke umtshela ukuthi wena uhlaziyile lezi inhlamvu lezi lenhlamvu le ephuma endaweni yesigameko nale esetshenziswa ukuhlola ngayo.
May I proceed?
You were still proceeding. That is correct, man.
And then number two, you then were informed by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena that this was the Senzo Meyiwa case. And that's it.
Emva kwalokho wasitshela uKhenel Mangena ukuthi lena leli cala kaSenzo Meyiwa kosuba yilokho kwasiphela kanjalo.
That is all that I can remember, my lord, because I know that I gave him feedback and then he informed me which case it was, my lord.
Ngikona ngikhumbulayo ngoba ngikhumbula ukuthi ngamnika umphumela wasengitshela ukuthi icala likabandeni.
You can't remember what really prompted him to tell you for him to come and tell you that this was Senzo Meyiwa's case. That you can't remember, not so.
My lord, I can't remember that. Conversations, we don't have a standard procedure of a certain conversation, my lord.
Thank you, sir. These exhibits, you would agree with me that the exhibits that you worked on, the test bullets, let us talk about the test bullets, is what is ballistically known as known matches, not so, because they were fired from the same firearm, allegedly, not so.
A test is known, my lord.
athi yebo isibhamu ekuthiwa i-test inhlamvu ekuthiwa i-test inhlamvu eyaziwayo.
No, man, you don't understand my question. And if you don't understand my question, just don't answer. Request me to clarify it for you. Do you understand, Mr. Ntin, Captain Ntin?
I understand, my lord.
Thank you. Now, I'm saying to you, for the fact that the test bullets that you had to work on were fired allegedly from the same firearm as test bullets, those test bullets are known as known matches, not so.
Manje ngisho-ke zinhlamvu lezi esithuthule ngalesi sibhamu okuthiwa yisona esathuthulwa ngayo zaziwa njengokuthi-ke yilezi ezinemphumela eyaziwayo kunjalo.
My lord, that is what I answered. I said the tests are known because the tests have been fired from a certain firearm. So those tests are known.
Yebo siyazi ukuthi-ke lezi nhlamvu ekuthiwa ama-test inhlamvu ezaziwayo ngoba kuyaziwa ukuthi zathuthulwa ngasiphi isibhamu.
Thank you. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena told this court, before we get there, how many test bullets did you work on?
Wayesebenza ngenhlamvu ezingaki zama-test bullet.
There were 8, my lord.
Zazishagalombili.
I see you reading from something there. What is it that you're reading from?
Yini-ke lo yifundayo ngiyakubona sengathi khona okufundayo lapha.
This is my 2 and 2, my lord.
Ya yi-2 and 2 yami le.
Oh, okay. Yeah, indeed, he said he fired 8 test bullets. And the reason for him to do that, he told this court, out of his own volition, that he had to do that because there was no consistent transfer of the marks from the tool into the exhibits. Do you get that?
Uthi-ke mefakaza le nkantolo uLieutenant Mangena uthi-ke wadubula lezi nhlamvu zama-test bullet eziwu-8 ngoba impawu lezi zazingadluliseki kahle ukudluliselela kulezi nhlamvu zivela esibhamini.
Do you understand that?
Uzwisisa lo?
I'm listening, my lord. Yeah, I'm following.
Thank you. Now, when you analyzed those test bullets, by the way, you said what test bullets did you analyze? He gave us the classes which he fired from this firearm as test bullets. Now, which bullets did you analyze? Test bullets did you analyze?
Uhlole ziphi inhlamvu ezama-test bullet?
It's 369 TB3 to 369 TB10.
Ngihlole u-369 TB3 kuyofikela ku-369 TB10.
Did those test bullets all have similar marks?
Zonke lezo nhlamvu bezinempawu efanayo.
My lord, I've checked them, all of them, and then find that they do have the similarities. Then I've selected the one with the best marks.
Yebo ngihlole zonke ngabona ukuthi yebo impawu zikhona kodwa ngase ngikhetha-ke le engibona khona ukuthi impawu zicace kangcono.
My question is, did all those test bullets that you work on have similar marks? I'm not asking you whether you fired bullets and then you had to go for, which ones did you go for? I'm asking you, very simple question, sir.
They had similar marks, my lord.
Thank you.
Izinhlamvu lezi zonke nempawu efananayo ukuthi yebo kunjalo.
Now, you then come and say, from those 8 marks, although they had similar, those 8 bullets, test bullets, although they had similar marks, then you went for those that had better marks, not so.
akulezo inhlamvu ke eziyisishiyagalombili nanoma zonke zazinempawu kodwa wafuna ezinempawu ezicace kangcono anginjalo.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kunjalo.
Why would these bullets, these test bullets, others have better marks and others not, when they were fired from the same firearm?
Yini ke kube nehlamvu ezinempawu ezicace kangcono kunezinye uma kuwukuthi zidudulwe ngesibhamu esisodwa?
My lord, the transfer of marks on the bullet is not going to repeat itself exactly the same.
Ukudluliseka kwempawu angeke kufane ngendlela efananayo.
They will have those similarities, but they will be the one that will have at least the best marks that are clearly visible, my lord.
Khona ke lezi zizoba nazo lezi mpawu kodwa khona ezinye zizoba nempawu ezicace kangcono.
Now, when others have better marks and others do not have better marks, on what basis do we then conclude that they've got similar marks?
Manje uma kukhona ezinempawu ezicacile nezinye ezinempawu ezingacacile kahle, manje ke yini ke kuholele ekutheni uthi zinempawu ezifananayo?
My lord, you will see that those marks are sufficient. They are similar, and then they are sufficient for you to make that finding, my lord.
Zokubona ukuthi lezo mpawu lezo zilingene ukuthi ziyafana ukuthi ungakwazi ukuthatha isinqumo ngazo.
But then say, if that is the case, you would not go for those that have got better marks, because they've got sufficient marks, then the marks are similar. You just take any bullet there at random and do your test, not so. If your explanation is anything to go by.
Mawuthi incazelo yakho incazelo eyamukelekayo ukuthi ke ubungathatha nanoma yiphi inhlamvu bengaphuqelele ukuthi uze ukhethe inhlamvu obona sengathi zingcono kunezinye okusho ukuthi zonke zizoba nezimpawu ezifanana ncimishi.
My lord, if you can recall previously, I said after checking all the tests, I picked up one test on the comparison microscope. You can put a test and an exhibit one. Then we check the test with that particular exhibit. Then you will find the similarities. Then you will rotate them up until you are satisfied. And then I picked up the second one just to verify what I have seen on the other test. I cannot say with the exhibits I've checked them all, but I've checked the tests against the tests to see that these tests, they've got the similarities. Then from there I randomly picked up. Is that just, my lord, because I did not write, I cannot say specifically it was this test.
Engikwenza ukuthi ngithathe ke inhlamvu bese ngifaka phansi komshini ngiyihlola ngiqhathanisa ne-exhibit makukhona impawu engizibonayo bese ngithatha nenye ngiyahlola kanjalo ngilokhu ngiziqhula kanjalo kodwa ke akusho ukuthi ke lezi ezinye azinazo impawu.
No, I don't get your explanation. It's your explanation is too clouded. My question is, if you are so sure that these bullets had similar marks, why did you have to go for those that you refer to as better marks?
Kuzama ukuthi uma ukuthi unesiqiniseko sokuthi zonke lezi inhlamvu zinezimpawu ezifanayo, yini indaba wasuka ke wakhetha izimpawu uthi wena inhlamvu uthi wena zinezimpawu ezicace kangcono?
My lord, I had 8 tests. I've checked the tests against each other. Then from after checking those tests, then I picked up one. I cannot specifically say which one. Then I put there in order to compare it with the exhibit.
Hayi ngathatha ngithi mina ngathatha wonke lama-test bullets ngaqhathanisa wonke ngazibona zonke lezi mpawu ezibonakala wonke lama-test bullets bese-ke ngithola eyodwa engayibona ukuthi icaceka ngcono lezi ezinye.
You saying you checked, because I don't want to misunderstand you. You saying you checked the test against themselves, then ultimately you pick one that you examined as against the sin bullet. Is that what you're saying?
Mangizwisisa uthe uthathe zonke lezi nhlamvu obuhlola ngazo ama-test bullet waqhathanisa zonke wase-ke kuzona-ke usuqhathanise zonke wasukhetha eyodwa-ke wasuyiqhathanisa leyo-ke nenhlamvu evela endaweni yesigameko.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kunjani.
So you therefore were being incorrect when you said out of the test you went for a better one. You went for the one with the better mark. That was, it's not what happened. You are wrong in saying that.
Manje usho kulona iqiniso ukuthi uthe wonke lama-test khona wayekhetha ngoba ubona ukuthi nezimpawu ezingcono.
You are not incorrect. You are correct. What I'm saying is that I picked up the test from amongst the 8. Then I used it to compare it with the exhibit bullet in order to check if they do have a match. But what I've said also is that all the tests, they had the similar marks. However, I cannot say all the marks were all clearly the same. I don't know if I'm making sense, because nature does not repeat itself 100%. Some you will find that other marks are clearly visible than the others. Remember, I'm using a comparison microscope. So now if I see a certain test bullet with better marks than the other, then I will use that particular one.
I think, sorry.
Ngihlole zonke lezi nhlamvu lezi ngathi kuma sengiqedile kwasekuba ikhona le nhlamvu engiyikhethayo ukuthi ngiyisebenzise ngoba zonke lezi nhlamvu zama-test bullet zazinayo impawu ezifananayo kodwa ke zazingafani ncimishi kuzo zonke iy'ndawo ngoba ke imvelo ayikwazi ukuthi-ke iziphindaphinde ngendlela efananayo. So kwakuphoqeleka ukuthi ngifune le inhlamvu engangisiza ukuthi ngenze umsebenzi wami kangconywana.
Now, I think it's a question of language. Maybe the language expression could be deficient, and I'm not saying that. Because there is a word also, it's identical, more pronounced. Have you heard of those words?
That is correct, ma'am.
Yeah. You're using similar, the same. One bullet may have the same, 2 bullets may be identical, and they may have similar marks. But one may have more pronounced marks. That's how I understand the evidence.
That is correct, my lord.
It's unfortunate, my lord, that I'm expecting that explanation to come from this witness, because I heard him very well.
Yeah, fine.
When he said, I compared to these 8 bullets initially. I compared to these 8 bullets and found them to be similar. But of the 8 bullets, then I picked up the one with better marks.
Yeah.
Good. And then my follow-up question was, but if these bullets had similar marks, why did you have to go for a better one and not pick up a random bullet? That's when then he came up with the explanation that from the 8 bullets, that he had compared amongst themselves. He just picked up a bullet and tested it as against the seen bullet. This time, no longer the bullet with the better mark. Then the explanation just went from there on and on and on and on, until then the court came up with marks being more pronounced, and etc., etc., etc. But this is not what this witness is saying, my lord. But nonetheless, I had his answer. Thank you, sir. Get your answer. Thank you. The bullets which you say is the one which you opted to use in order to compare with the seen bullet against the background that we have just set, that it is the one with a better mark. What mark did those bullets, did that bullet from the 8 that you picked up which had a better mark, what mark did it have for you to come to the conclusion that this one is more pronounced than the other bullets, test bullets?
Khona leli lenhlamvu lena owakhetha ukuyisebenzisa ukuthi iqhathanise nenhlamvu ewumbukiso. Engifuna ukwazi ukuthi njengoba ke usuchazileke ngaphambilini, yiziphi impawu lezi eyayinazo ezazwenza ukuthi ubone ukuthi indoda?
My lord, at this stage, I cannot say exactly which marks, because remember, I did not write anything down. All that I said is that during that time when I checked the bullet and the test, I found similarities to and then that I concluded that they were fired from the same firearm, my lord.
Ngoba ngibhalanga phansi ukuthi yini engiyibonayo yini engingayiboni, angeke ngisakwazi ukubuya ngisho ukuthi naku ke ngakubona, naku futhi engakubona, engakwazi nje ukwenza ukuthi ngagcina ngibonile ukuthi le nhlamvu nenhlamvu evela endaweni yesigameko lezibhame sisodwa.
You see, sir, that's a problem. I'm not talking to a layman here. I'm talking to an expert, not so. An expert who did science on certain who applied science on certain exhibits, not so.
Lana ngikhuluma ngomuntu ongazi, ngikhuluma nomuntu owuchwepheshe la owasebenzisa science ukuhlola kunjalo.
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo kunjalo.
You know, this, what you just now telling this court reminds me of a pathologist. Now, a pathologist is a person who does post-mortem, a doctor that does post-mortem. He went to court and told this court that, look, my chief finding on a post-mortem examination as to the cause of death of the deceased is asphyxia.
Uthi hayi la ngikhumbuza lo muntu ohlola idumbu. Wathi mebuza ukuthi yini wayithola ehlolweni wesidumbu. Wayesethi into engiyitholile ukukhisheka ebizwa ngesingisi kuthiwa phecelezi asphyxia.
Now the court asked him, it was a him, the court asked him, how did this asphyxia happen? Now the doctor said, no, I did not write it down. Whether the asphyxia was brought along by strangulation, by suffocation, or loss of blood, he couldn't explain. That is exactly what you're doing, sir. You're telling this court these bullets were similar. But similar in what respect? I mean, the bullet which you say had better marks was positively compared with the same bullet. How that happened? What is it that was in the same bullet and in the test bullet? We don't know. Do you understand?
No, because I would get Ukhuluma njengadokotela ngoba awukwazi usilethela incazelo ukuthi umuthi-ke le nhlamvu lena yayinempawu ezibona ezicaceka ngcono. Iziphi lezi mpawu zazinjani?
What I can say, my lord, is that the pattern of those marks, I found similarities. I found them to be in agreement to make that particular finding, my lord.
Ngifuna ukusho ukuthi i-pattern yalezi mpawu lezi zangikholele ekutheni ngikwazi ukufinyelela esinqumeni.
So we've said that this is science. Every step of the way that culminated to your finding must be accounted for. This is what I found, this is what I found, this is what I found, therefore this was my result. Do we have that in your evidence here at court in respect of your finding?
Njengoba uthi usebenzisa isayensi kufanele konke kulandelelwe kahle kwabekwa kahle kwacaca ukuthi nakho engitholile nakho okunye ngitholile nakho engitholile wenze kanjalo yini?
Hence, my lord, I said I was giving an opinion of which I did not write.
Njengoba ngisho ukuthi la ngangiletha umbono-ke lo mbono ngizange ngiwubhale phansi.
And that is how experts do their things. Mark you, I don't doubt your level of expertise. But I'm asking, is that really how experts do their analysis? They don't write, no, nothing. They put everything in their head and later.
Kodwa-ke umbuzo wami ukuthi iyona yini indlela ochwepheshe abasenza ngayo ukuthi bangabhali phansi ukuthi benzani?
They put everything in their head and then later on forget them.
Bagcina konke engqondweni bese-ke kuphela kanjalo.
My lord, the person who will write, as the advocate has stated earlier, as the chief examiner, he will write his findings. The person who does the verification will write also his findings. The people that are giving opinion, they don't write.
Njengoba sengichazile-ke lo mhlolo omkhulu ozohlola lama specimen alethiwe uyena ozobhala umbiko. Lawa aletha umbiko, lawa baletha imbono nje akukho lutho olubhalayo.
Thank you, sir. Have you come here as an opinion giver or as an expert?
Uzelana ngokuthi uzochaza ukuthi ngoletha umbono noma uzelana njengochwepheshe?
I gave an opinion, my lord.
Nganika umbono.
So we are wrong to refer to you as an expert.
Kusho ukuthi akulona iqiniso ukuthi kuzobe kungekho ngokulungile ukuthi sikubize ngokuthi uchwepheshe.
Mr. Mnisi, sorry,
Yes.
sorry to interfere. You just referred to this gentleman. You said, I don't doubt that you're an expert. Am I quoting you correct?
Yes.
But I don't doubt your expertise. I hear
Initially, I said that, man.
Yeah, fine. I'm saying you said that.
Yes.
Now you're investigating and querying the very thing you tell him you think and you know that he is.
That was before.
That's all.
That was
Now you can go on. That's all.
No, madam. No.
I don't doubt that you're an expert.
Yes, madam.
Thereafter, you say, are you an expert or an opinion giver?
Yes.
Fine. I say, fine, you can go on.
But that is subsequent to the answer that
Yeah.
he gave me, my lord. All that I'm saying here are prompted by the answers which he's giving. And for the fact that I said to him, I don't doubt his expertise, my lord. I said that out of respect. But because of the answers that he himself gave me, or gave this court, I've got no reasons, my lord, not to ask him whether he has come here as an opinion giver or as an expert. Then he proceeds to say, I've come here as an opinion giver. Now, when you have come here as an opinion giver, say, then the usage of, my saying to you that I don't doubt your level of expertise as an expert could have been misplaced, not so. Because you have come here as an opinion giver, not so.
Manje njengoba lana uzoletha ubufakazi bakho njengolethe umbono, ukuthi-ke ukuthi ngibize ngochwepheshe kuzobe kungelona iqiniso kanjani?
My lord, this opinion that I gave it's an opinion that will be given by a ballistic expert, my lord.
Mbono ngunikile umbono olethwa ngumchwepheshe.
Not anyone can give this particular opinion.
Akuyena ubani nobani ongakwazi ukuthi alethe lo mbono lo.
And as an expert, are you not supposed to take this court through the processes that you went through in arriving at your conclusion?
Njengomchwepheshe ke akufanele yini ukuthi ukhombise ukuthi yiphi umzila lo wawulandela ukuze ulethe lo mbono.
A lot, as I've alluded that I was giving an opinion, I gave an opinion. I did not write on the pro forma. The person who writes on the pro forma is the person who will be doing verification.
Njengoba ngishilo ukuthi bengilethe umbono angizange ngibhale ku-proforma ungishilo futhi ukuthi obhala umbiko yilo owumhloli omkhulu.
That pathologist that I referred you to, ne? Just to complete the mosaic, they had to call him and he had to go and account on the nature of the work that he did and presented at court. But nonetheless, let us proceed. Now, on the 22nd of July 2020, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena goes to you and requests for an opinion. You said last time under cross-examination by my colleague Mr. Ngomezulu that you can't remember at what time did he approach you. Was it in the afternoon, or it was it mid-morning, mid-morning, or was it midday? That you can't remember. Not so.
Mhla 22 July 2020 uthi awusakhumbula ukuthi wafika nini Mangena uthi azocela umbiko, wazi ukuthi sekuseni noma isemini noma ntambama, usakhumbula njani?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo njani?
And then in your affidavit, the one that you said you were requested much against, your protocol by Advocate Baloyi to prepare. You say on the 22nd of July 2020, during the performance of my official duties, I was requested by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena to provide a microscopic opinion regarding the following exhibits: bullet and test bullets. You mentioned them in 3.1 and in 3.2. And then in paragraph 4, you say, I examined the fired bullet mentioned in paragraph 3.1 and 3.2 and compared to the individual and task characteristics markings transferred to them by firearm components during firing process using a comparison microscope, and found that the bullet that is mentioned in 3.1 and 3.2 were fired from the same firearm. That's what is contained in your affidavit, not so?
Lokho kufundiwe ikona yini okula ku-affidavit yakho?
Sorry, not so.
That is correct, my lord.
Thank you, sir.
Yebo njani?
So this whole process, the receipt, the comparison, and the finalization of the comparison and the making available of the results of a comparison is happening on the 22nd of July 2020, not so?
Wonke lo msebenzi wenziwa mhla 22 July njani?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo njani?
And you have earlier on indicated that an opinion, a person that goes out and seek for an opinion from his colleague, he does that after he has finalized his comparison, not so?
Ke ohamba ayocela umbono kwasebenza nabo, ukwenza lokho umeseqedile ukwenza wakho umsebenzi kanjani?
That is correct, my lord. I said
Yebo njani?
you check them first and then you can go and ask for an opinion, my lord, after you've checked them.
Uhlala kuqala ebese-ke kuyima uhamba uyocela imibono.
Thank you. Now, Okay, before I get to this point, you know Lieutenant Colonel Mangena, when he testified, he said after he had completed his examination or analysis on this ballistic engagement, he then approached 4 of his colleagues for them to confirm his work. That's what he told in his court.
Okay, mangena uthi-ke seqedile wenza umsebenzi wakhe obhalisiwe waya kuba la sebenza nabo abane ukuthi beze bazoqinisekisa umsebenzi wakhe.
But it is only Mr. Surero who then countersigned his work. Do you follow?
Kodwa-ke ubaba uSirero kuphela naye owasayinda emsebenzini wakhe akunjalo.
I'm following, my lord.
Ngiyakulandela lokho.
Lieutenant Colonel Mangena does not say, I approached 4 of my colleagues. I approached Lieutenant Colonel Surero to confirm my work, and Captain Tini, Captain Hrobla, and the other Hrobla that's not here, I think it's Feljun. Those 3, I only requested opinion from them. Do you follow?
Lieutenant Colonel Mangena umeza la akachaza ukuthi wafika wacela abane ukuthi bamhlolele umsebenzi wakhe, wacela uLieutenant Colonel Sirelo, Captain Tuli, noCaptain Hroblet, noCaptain Bedion ukuthi bamhlolele umsebenzi wakhe. Angjalo?
I'm listening, my lord.
That's what he told his court.
Ilokho akutshela le nkantolo.
And I do not doubt Lieutenant Colonel Mangena's understandings of these processes.
Angingabazi ukuthi ke inqubo uyayazi uLieutenant Colonel Mangena ukusebenza lo msebenzi.
He's a very seasoned ballistic expert.
Umkantshubo ku-ballistic ukuhlola kwe-ballistic.
He's able to differentiate between opinion from what I could discern from how he proffered his testimony. He was able, it's a person that struck me as a person who's able to differentiate between an opinion and a confirmation.
Ngimbheka mina ngibona sengathi umuntu okwazi ukuhlukanisa phakathi kombono nesiqiniseko.
Do you understand?
I'm listening, my lord.
And in fact, throughout his testimony, I yet have to come across the word where he says, I requested an opinion from my other colleagues. Because he's always been speaking about confirmation, overriding my work, and probably checking my work. Opinion, never. So it's yourself and Captain Hrobla to you and requested for an opinion.
So when I know Captain Hrobla abeza kule nkantolo bathi yebo Captain
I'm listening, my lord.
Any comment?
Paula?
My lord, the only thing that I can say is that the word opinion, anyone who's working in ballistics or has worked in ballistics, he knows this opinion.
Osebenza lapha ku-ballistic ngazi ukuthi bonke akekho noyedwa ongayazi ukuthi ukuthini opinion.
That exactly confirms what I've just said to you now, that Lieutenant Colonel Mangena knows what an opinion is, knows what a confirmation, comma, override, comma, and check, and checking of a work. If he would have wanted to say opinion, he would have simply have mentioned that yourself, Captain Hrobla, and the other captain, I don't know whether the state is going to call him or what, he would have approached you for an opinion, not a confirmation. Do you understand?
Ngoba ngithi uyazi kahle uMangena ukuthi yini umbono ene yini ukuletha isiqiniseko bezobe engezanga kinina wazothi uzocela umbono bezothi cela nilethe isiqiniseko kanjani.
I hear you, my lord, and I cannot comment further on what Colonel Mangena have said, my lord.
Thank you.
Paula, kuyaphambili ngiphawule kwasho Lieutenant Colonel Mangena.
Because this is what he told this court. I'm not thumbsucking this. This is what he told this court, and I'm going to refer to the record of the proceedings of the 30th of August 2024 on page number 7. I'm going to read it very quickly. He said this under my cross-examination when Mr. Mnisi was cross-examining him. This is what happened. Now, Mr. Mnisi says, thank you. Now you say you will refer this, you request just one of your colleagues to come and override your work. What words did you use now? Oversee. Mr. Mangena says, confirm. Then Mr. Mnisi says, confirm, yes, to come and confirm your work, and that will be all, not so. Mr. Mangena says, that is correct. Then Mr. Mnisi says, thank you, sir, thank you. Now, in the case that we are busy with here, you told to this court that although this was a positive result, that is, according to you, there was a positive match, you called 4 people to come and confirm your results, not so. I repeat that. You called 4 people to come and confirm your results, not so. That was a question that I posed to him. Then Mr. Mangena's answer was, that is correct, my lord. I called 4 people to check. Mr. Mnisi says, is that a normal practice? Then Mr. Mangena says, my lord, it depends on the exhibits that you have and the quality of marks that you have and the case that you are working. If it is a high-profile case, I'll make sure that we get more people to go, to come and confirm the findings for quality control also. Did you get that?
I've heard that.
Thank you. I just wanted to sum this one up on whether or not Mr. Mangena approached you for a confirmation or for an opinion. In his own words, he said confirmation. Do you understand?
Ngoba Mangena bengifuna ukuletha isiqiniseko ukuthi iliphi igama kusebenzisa confirmation noma opinion ukuthi ke isiqiniseko noma umbono.
Any comment?
My lord, when the advocate was reading there, I also heard the word check.
Yes.
And Lieutenant Colonel Mangena also used the word to confirm. So what I can say is that the checking, if he asked me to check, I'm giving an opinion. The process of checking, the process of confirming, we are using the same instrument, the comparison microscope. However, the word confirm or to verify, the person who signs there, then we call him a verifier. That is the comment that I can give, my lord.
Naleli uluvesile lokuthi ulethe isiqiniseko engwenza ukuthi uthatha le inhlamvu lezi ngizibheka ngaphansi kwe-microscope ngisihlole bese ke ngiyasho ukuthi nake ngibona.
So check according to you means opinion.
Futhi ke ukuhlola ngokwakho uchaza ukuthi ke kusho ukuthi ke umbono lo.
My lord, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in your reading there, I've heard you mentioned check, and I've heard you mentioned confirmation. All that I'm saying is that all those, the 2 things, to check and to confirm, we are using the same instrument, of which is a comparison microscope. However, the person who signs there, as long as he signs, then we said he's done verification.
Lamagama la ucheck no confirm last. Maswa usenzisa ukuthi sisebenzise instrument eyodwa ukuthi sihlole and ngayo emva kwaloko ke uyakwazi ukuthi uchaze ukuthi cha na umbono wami.
Mr. Tini, please don't try too hard. You have just told this court that the word check, according to you, means opinion. Is that not what you said?
Wena igama lelo kuhlola lichaza ukuthi umbono nje akona lo.
What I'm saying, my lord,
Is that not what you said? Did you say it or you didn't say it? That the word check means opinion.
my lord, in my pro forma, I don't have the word check. I've got verification.
Kule maform la sogcwalisa iproforma alikho leli gama elithi check elikhona ile lithi verification.
Thank you.
Verification ochaza ukuthi ukuletha isiqiniseko.
Thank you. I hope the point is made, sir. Thank you. And very clearly so. Now, 20 July 2020, Mr. Mangena gives you experiments. You work on, you complete them on the same day. Do you have a clue? Can you remember how long did it take you to go through this whole exercise on the 22nd? That's now 22 July 2020.
Mhla 22 July 2020 kwakhathi isikhathi esingakanani ukuthi wenze lo msebenzi wokuhlola?
From beginning to the end.
Siqaleni uyofika egcineni.
I cannot recall that, my lord.
Angeke ngakwazi ukukhumbula lokho.
Thank you. Now, this is what Colonel Mangena told this court. And I want you to listen and listen very carefully. Because it has got a huge bearing on your testimony. I just want to be frank with you. It does have. The proceedings of the 29th of August 2024, when I also was cross-examining him, it starts on page 49. Paragraph 10, it's him, Mr. Mangena. He says, I started with the FMJs. I compared the FMJs and then I put them. I cannot recall whether I also did with the same exercise with the other bullets. But I continue. When I start to continue, I took my exhibit bullet and put them on the left-hand side and started comparing it with all those other exhibits that I had with me. I'll read and then thereafter I'll give Mr. Ngobo just to interpret. No.
Can you do one sentence at a time because you tend to read quite a long passage and it
Yes,
becomes impossible to remember it.
Yeah, I just skipped my mind that I should have prepared a copy for you as well. You understand? Yeah, I should have prepared a copy for you. But what I will do is I'll read through and then I'll give this to you and then you summarize it.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. And then Mr. Mnisi says to Mr. Mangena, yes. So you say you still cannot recall exactly what you did, Mr. Mangena says. That is correct. My lord, he says, that is correct, my lord, because the whole exercise did not take an hour or 2 hours. It take days. Because I started working after collecting the firearm, which we now know it was on the 20th. After shooting the test, then Tuesday, Wednesday, I was busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. I cannot remember, but my report, I started compiling my report on Friday. Mr. Mnisi, yes. Now with the addendum to your answer, should I then understand you to mean that at some stage, you were tired working on this exercise or on this experiment, on this examination? It took you almost a week. So it drained you. Do I understand you to mean that, Mr. Mangena, my lord? when I'm working on the microscope, once I feel that my eyes are tired, I've been working on the microscope for a long time, my eyes are tired, you'll start missing some of the markings, so I will rather stop and then I will continue. I will continue. It is either the next morning or when I maybe after a long break and I can start working on it. So that is why I said it did not take me a day, it took me a long time. Then Mr. Mnisi, thank you. I quite agree with you on that one. Some other things can be very draining. But then, are you then saying that the nature of this exercise, the comparison, was it a tedious and a difficult one? So which is the reason why it took you so many days? Mr. Mangena says, my lord, with such exhibits from such a bullet that has worn out, it takes time for you to look at these things and it takes time for you to see all your markings properly. Mr. Mnisi, now with that explanation, sir, would it then be correct to say that it was not an easy exercise? It was a difficult exercise because you had to go into the system and compare, come out of the system, go back and compare it. It was not really a simple exercise. It was a tedious exercise. Do I understand you to mean that? Then Mr. Mangena says, my lord, I will say as long as you started, you have identified maybe the groups that are visible, that you can see on your exhibits. When you start with those other tests, you can check your tests, you keep on marking them. Maybe after some time, you know which mark bullet you have marked. You start looking at them, then you can, from there, you start doing the follow-up. When you say it is a follow-up, you start rotating them simultaneously, looking at the relevant same position on both items for more marks. Mr. Mnisi, yes. Mr. Mangena, to clear up, it is not that it took me the whole week to do that. I have checked that and thereafter I gave it to my colleagues to check. So they also took some time, but I will not say not as much time as I took. Let's stop it there.
Anakhulunywa ukuthi uMangena mekaza ukuthi umsebenzi wakhe wawenza kanjani. Uthi ke uyachaza ukuthi no umsebenzi wawenza kwathatha isikhathi eside ngoba kwesikhathi ke kwakukhona ukuthi ke akhathale emehlweni nesikhathele abona ukuthi mhlambe ke ngakhona impawu angeke asakwazi ukuzibona. So kwagcina lokwenza ukuthi athathe isikhathi eside ukwenza lo msebenzi wokuhlola.
Thank you. Now, it is beyond reproach that Lieutenant Colonel Mangena is more experienced than you, not so?
Colonel Mangena uchwepheshe obodlulayo njani?
That is correct, my lord.
Yebo njani?
And you heard when he told to this court that for him to do this thing, it did not take him a day or two. It took him long.
Ukuthi wathi yena lo msebenzi lo akuyonto ethatha isikhathi esifishane othatha isikhathi eside.
Such that he started to work on his affidavit on a Friday.
Okwaholela ekuthena abhale i-affidavit yakhe ngoLwesihlanu.
When he had started with the analysis on a Monday.
Uthi aqala nomsebenzi wokuhlaziya ngoMsombuluko.
Do you follow?
I'm following, my lord.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Mangena, with such massive experience on ballistic-related matters, took almost a week to come to the conclusion that he arrived at. And it only takes you a time that you are no longer able to remember, but something that is less than a day to come to your conclusion. Is there any logical explanation for it?
khona yini incazelo ezwakalayo?
My Lord, I've heard what the advocate was reading there, and it contains a lot of things like typing of statements. I've only done part of which was just to give an opinion with regard to the microscopic comparison. Then my duty ended there. The advocate has mentioned the chief examiner, who will be doing everything. I don't know when did he do what, but from your reading, I heard you spoke about the typing of affidavit. Those are some of the duties that he has done as chief examiner, as they belong to him, as those are his responsibilities.
No, lana ku mina umsebenzi wenza nje uyingxenye yalonke lo msebenzi ofanele wenziwe lapho ngoba mina ngifanele nje umbono nje ukuthi ngithoma ngiqhathanisa ngathola ini manje lo umhlolo omkhulu yena ufanele akwenze konke lokho aphinda kube nanembiko ayibhalayo noma affidavit ababhalayo so uthatha isikhathi eside.
Sir, please don't try to sway things that I've said. Mr. Mangena says he only started to compile his report on a Friday when he started to work on this experiment on a Monday, which was the 20th. Do you understand?
Mangelethi yena waqala umsebenzi wakhe ngomsombuluko kodwa qala ubhala umbiko wakhe ngolwesihlanu.
Do you understand?
I understand that, my Lord.
Thank you.
Ngiyazwisisa lapho.
And let me specifically bring you to what is important, what he specifically says. This is what he says. My Lord, because the whole exercise did not take an hour or 2 hours. It took days because I started working after collecting the firearm. After the shooting, the test, then on Tuesday, on Wednesday, I was busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. On Tuesday, on Wednesday, I was busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. Now, when we look into the calendar of 2020, July 2020, the 20th was on a Monday. The 21st was on a Tuesday. The 22nd, the day on which you say he approached you for an opinion, was on a Wednesday. Do you follow?
Masibheka ikhalenda yamhla 2 July 2020. Masibheka umsombuluko umhla 20 kwangumsombuluko. Masibheka umhla 21st kwakulesibili, masibheka umhla 22 kwawulesithathu. Lelanga wena uthi wakutshela ngalo ukuthi umbhekele.
Do you follow?
I'm following, my Lord.
Thank you.
Yeah.
After shooting the test, then on Tuesday, Wednesday, I was busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. In other words, say, you are saying that Mr. Mangena approached you on a Wednesday when you were still busy on the microscope.
Okuchazayo ke wena ukuthi kusho ukuthi ke njengoba ethena ngolesibili nangolesithathu wayesebhizi ku-microscope chaza ukuthi ke uMangena weza kuwena ezocela ukuthi umsize ngalo msebenzi engakaqedi ukwenza umsebenzi wakhe.
And mind you, you had told this court that an expert can only approach another expert from the opinion once they are done with the work that they are doing. Not so.
Ukuthi ke wena umunye uqepheshe angacela omunye uqepheshe ukuthi amhlolele umsebenzi uma kuwukuthi yena seqedile ukwenza wakhe umsebenzi.
Not so.
Anjani?
I'm following, my Lord.
Ngiyalandela.
Mr. Mangena is very pertinent. It's very clear. It does not need any particular expertise to understand what Mr. Mangena is saying. On a Tuesday and a Wednesday, I was still busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. In other words, he was not yet done. And yet, he comes to you for an opinion. How do you explain that?
Mangena ke ngomhla 21 olesibili nangolwesithathu wayesematasa ephethe lo msebenzi wakhe wokuhlola okusho ukuthi wayeza kuwena engakaqedi ukwenza umsebenzi wakhe anginjalo.
Lord, we object to this line of questioning. It's quite clear from what Mr. Advocate Mnisi said. There's no time in which Colonel Mangena said he finished working on the exhibits on Wednesday. So it would be unfair for this witness to also comment into that.
There is nothing unfair here, my lord. Everything comes from Mr. Mangena's testimony. He says, I started compiling my report on a Friday. What is not clear about that? He says on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, I was busy on the microscope with all those exhibits. I'm not thumb-sucking, this information is not there. What it is unfair with that? Can you please answer the question? How do you reconcile that?
My lord,
Yourself, yes.
my lord, I cannot comment on that one.
Thank you. I've got no comment. And I can put it to you, say, normally I'm not a fan of trying to postulate the reason why a person cannot comment on a particular answer. But in instances such as this one, I'm more than justified to say that you have been requested here to come in, and this is the second reason. Mind you, I told you earlier on that the first reason why you had come here to come and validate, yes, I haven't forgotten this time, to come and validate the state's narrative was that first reason. This is the second reason. Unfortunately, your validation, your attempt to validate the state's attempt to create a certain narrative of the use of a firearm in this case missed Mr. Mangena's testimony in this regard. I therefore feel justified, sir, to brand you as a hired gun. You standing there as a hired gun. You don't know what you did. You're forgetting everything that you did as an expert. I'm even not so sure whether as you standing there, particularly in this case, you came here as an expert or as an opinion giver. Now, Mr. Mangena approaches you even before he could complete his work on the 22nd. What should the court make of all these inexplicable circumstances of this case that you have come to testify about?
Lana ulethe into ngibona sengathi wena ulethele lana nje ukuthi uzosiza umshushisi ukuthi alethe lesisithombe sokuthi isibhamu lesi sasetshenziswa lapha, kodwa wena uningi ongasakhumbuli nesikhathi asasikhumbuli. Kuyabonakala nala ukuthi lana uthe uze lana njengomchwepheshe, akucaci ukuthi uze njengomchwepheshe noma uletha umbono. Manje ke umbuzo wami kusho ukuthi konke lokhu kuholele wena ulethele nje ukuthi uzosiza umshushisi.
I will stand up again and object to the use of the phrase a hired gun to the witness. My understanding of a hired gun is someone who's been paid to come and say something, and I submit, my lord, it's improper for Advocate Mnisi to use such to the witness.
Do you know the Judge Dennis Davis? The one who says, judge for yourself, on TV.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a buddy of mine. He used that weight in a particular judgment. I need to tell you the judgment.
There's the court, please.
As it please the court, my lord, thank you. I'm not so sure whether the court is coming to my rescue, but there is nothing wrong in referring to an expert as a hired gun. It's all over the show. You go to authorities, law reports that are dealing with road traffic, what is it now? Road accident fund cases. medical negligence cases, this phrase, hired gun, is referred to there
fine.
very extensively, so it's not an insult. Don't feel insulted.
No, I'm just trying to explain to the witness that the person who first used this word in South Africa
Yes.
in a divorce case
Yes, my lord.
was Dennis Davis.
That is,
1994.
yes,
It's a reported case.
yes, my lord. Yeah.
You know that case, Mr.
I,
Not particularly, but the context.
Yeah, fine.
It's something.
Yeah, it was the first guy who
as
used
it please the court, my lord. So say, when I say to you a hired gun, I just don't say it out of nowhere. I'm saying it, basing it on what, as I try to compare and contrast your testimony here at court. You said you've got no comment, not so?
Uthe wena akukho ngakuphawula kuloko ukuthi ebengibeka ukuthi wena ulethelwe nje ukuthi uzoqinisekisa into efuna ukubekwa umshushisi phambi kwenkantolo kanjani.
My lord, I can only say I'm not supporting any narrative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cha ingakusho nje ukuthi akukho engizokusekela.
Now finally,
Can I just finalize?
as I look at your affidavit on paragraph 3 of your affidavit, and paragraph 3 of Captain Grobler's affidavit, they are twins, the content thereof, from paragraph 3 to paragraph 5, which is the gist of your affidavit. The contents thereof are similar. They are basically two peas in a pond.
Umbiko ka Captain Grobler paragraph 3 nombiko wakho paragraph 3 zona sengathi lembiko lena lama paragraph la, so paragraph 3 kuyofika ku paragraph 5 ifana ncimishi.
The content thereof, the wording, the punctuation, the spelling, and everything is just similar. Could that have been a coincidence?
Konke lo indlela okubhalwe ngayo punctuation nendlela ufakwe ngayo spelling lapho kufana ncimishi into engazenzekela le.
My lord, from my office, there is a standard way of writing an affidavit.
Ehhovisi lami khona indlela ebekiwe yokuthi sibhala kanjani i-affidavit.
And
Which
other,
could-
other things such as the caliber and the markings, my lord, you cannot change.
Ezinye izinto ezinjengobukhulu besibhamu nempawu awukwazi ukushintsha lokho.
You heard me. I said even the punctuation and the spelling and the phrasing of the words. Could that have been a coincidence? Or you use the same computer to prepare paragraph 3 to paragraph 4 of your statement? Of your I mean, yourself, Grobler and yourself.
Senzisa ikhompyutha yodwa yini nespelling siyafana.
My lord, we didn't use the same computer. Hence I'm saying
Ikhompyutha yodwa
we are having a standard way of drafting an affidavit, my lord.
nendlela ebekiwe ukuthi sibhale i-affidavit.
Thank you, sir. The standard way of drafting affidavit. Thank you. Got no further questions.
Yes.
That will be all for me, my lord. Thank you, my lord.
What time is it now?
Quarter to 4, my lord.
Is this the end of this witness?
No, they must still cross-examine.
Mr. Mnumalo,
Noma and African Shalom.
you want to cross-examine this witness?
My lord, may I bring it to the attention of the court that I will have no cross-examination to this
Yeah, you
witness?
did. And Mr. Chololo? Okay, so that is the end of this witness's evidence. Except you want to re-examine him, I don't know.
We can adjourn to tomorrow, my lord.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We haven't seen a standard affidavit in a ballistic manual. Oh,
In
you
this
have-
instance, it's very suspicious.
You have,
Out
you
of
have
record,
seen one. I
you-
can show you one.
Thank you, my lord.
Okay, let's adjourn until tomorrow at 10. Are you available, sir, tomorrow?
That is correct, my lord. I'm available.
Yeah. All right.